going on, people? Welcome back to another video of John Sinclair TV. Back again tonight. I've got a Scottish fan, Taylor from Newcastle United, Scottish Supporters Club. Hi to you, Taylor.
Evening, John. Thanks for having us on. Looking forward to it.
Cool stuff, cool stuff. You should have one more on as well, but I don't know what's going on. But everyone's coming on his own time. That is cool. That is fine. The link's been sent to him, but we'll see what happens if he comes later on. Cool, if he don't. So, guys, if you like the video and like what you see, then please make sure you smash the likes, hit the subscribe button as well. And if you'd like to become a member, it's just 99p. And if you do become a member, the link's in the top of the chat. Then you'll be entered into a draw winning £50 off e-vouchers so you can spend at NUFC. And we make a draw before during September before the Champions League first game. And also super chats are open as well if you like to donate as well. Let's go on to Leslie, even to Les. Hope you're okay. And share to your socials. Thank you. Hi to Tom, Leeds fan. It's been a while indeed, and hope you keep it okay. Hi to Neil. Welcome to the chat, mate. Thank you so much indeed. And super chats are available as well. Thank you, Les, and welcome to the show. Leslie saying welcome to the show, mate. And hi to Alan Little as well. I hope Alan's having a good day, and I'd love to meet him at some stage. And Mr. T and Neil as well. Right, so we're going to do the transfer show. I mean, we're going to go through the players being linked to Newcastle United in the past couple of days. And the first one to talk to you about, Taylor, is Harvey Barnes for Leicester City. Now, he has got a market value. Market value of 32 million quid. Maybe it's 35 million. 40 million probably sealed the deal. He's always been looked at West Ham United as well and Aston Villa. He's been relegated with Leicester at the end of the season, and he's been one of the best bunch at the club as well. So, what do you think of this guy, mate, Taylor? And would you take a punt on this guy?
Yeah, so we had a vote actually just the other day on the group, and it was Harvey Barnes, yay or nay. And 57% of the group actually said that they would take him if the price was right. And I reckon the price is probably somewhere around 25 million. A deal could probably be structured. And perhaps Harvey Barnes is the one that we've been actually watching over the past few months. Maybe Madison was just a bit of a smokescreen, and it's actually Barnes that we're interested in. He's an interesting one though. So he's typically left-sided. We know he can play off the right. He can come in through the centre as well. But in 146 Premier League games, he's got 35 goals, 24 assists. He did do slightly better in the Championship. He got 14 goals, 11 assists in about 49 games or so. And then he's also got a couple of goals in the Europa League as well. So, you know, he's got goals in him. He's got assists in him. And, you know, still at that age of kind of 25, maybe 26 in December, he probably meets that bracket. Potentially someone that Eddie Howe can work with and get a bit more out of him, because I think he's definitely got a bit more to offer. So for me and our members at NUSS, it was a thumbs up for Harvey Barnes if a deal can be done and the price is right, John. What do you think?
For me, I'd take a punt on this guy because, look, I mean, he's not a big name by any strength of imagination, but you don't need a big name to come and play for Newcastle United these days, if you know what I mean. Look at Dan Burn. I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about him later. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't a big name when he came to Newcastle United. He's played for clubs like Wigan and Fulham and Brighton. They're not exactly big household names, are they? But come to Newcastle, comes in and does a really good job. But we definitely need a left side midfielder as well, is my opinion. They only got ASM, and we definitely need cover for that as well. The thing is, we've got a 25-man squad, yeah? And if you're going to get more players coming in, where's the vacancy? Is any vacancies there? Because I spoke to my mate Eddie on Saturday, Tyneside Live, and he's a great guy. And he said that if you look at the squad, we've got a 25-man squad. If you brought in another player, where they're going to fit in, especially in midfield. But I think he's doing a good job, Harvey Barnes. He works hard. His work rate is really, really good. And he checks back as well. Lovely foot control. He dives a little bit. That's only my problem. But for 35 million quid, I think that's an absolute good buy because he's worth the money. And I think that's reasonable as well. We're not talking 80, 90, 100 mil. I think he's English. He's a good player. I think that'll fit in Eddie Howe. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can play a 10. And Eddie Howe loves to play players in different positions as well.
I think he's got the versatility, John. I suppose when you're talking about taking a punt, though, I think in regards to financial fair play, can we afford to take a punt on somebody? You know, we paid a fair bit of money for Anthony Gordon, and I had a dream last night that we were going to win the Champions League and Anthony Gordon was going to win the Ballon d'Or. So, yeah, I think Gordon's got a massive, massive season ahead for us, and he's been doing well in the international games that he's been playing in lately as well. So he's got goals in him, he's got assists in him. If we bring in Barnes, does that mean Maxi goes? Because the chat is that unless you're paying £40 million, ASM ain't going anywhere. And I still think he can offer a lot. You know, there's not many teams that would want ASM running at them in the last 20 minutes of a Champions League match at St James's Park, right? He's getting bums off of seats. He's getting folks excited. He's running at tired defenders. The question is he going to be happy potentially being a squad player next season? But we know that Barnes has got that versatility, right? So can we open him up on the right? Can we play him a bit more through the middle as well? I suppose that's where does Eddie see him?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But you know what it is, right? Football now is all about being a squad. Is a team game, not an individual game, in my opinion. And if you look at the players we've got no one who's been mourning, they can't get in the team, this and that and other. You know, they're just happy to buy the time. Look at when Bruno came in, he had to buy this time. When actually Gordon came in, he had to buy this time, yeah? And a few new players come in, like Sven Botman, he had to buy this time as well. It's all about being patient, and it's all about, you know, settling in and bedding in as well. And I've got to be honest, yeah, I think we need cover. We definitely need a left side. We need cover for ASM, but is ASM going to be here next season? That's another thing. I mean, look, I've got a feeling if he leaves Newcastle, I think he'll end up going to Saudi as well, because according to Graham Bailey, right, I mean, I don't know how true he is, but Saudi clubs want him as well. So if that's the case and he goes, I wish him well. But no, people say they'd rather keep ASM. But I watched the ASM played a lot of games this season, a lot of games. But I'm a big ASM fan. But he has got to like come in and give it a go. But it's a hard one. Like, I don't know if Eddie rates him. I don't know, but.
You don't see what goes on behind the scenes, John. It'd be an interesting one as to he's a decisive character, isn't he? But we've always had that flamboyant Frenchman in respect to whether it be Ginola, whether it be Lauren Robert, you know, as Max's turn. Do we give him another season in the Champions League to find out if he's got it? But you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. But he's definitely a bit like Marmite. He splits the camp as to whether folks would be happy to see him go if we got a reasonable fee, or whether we'd let him stay for another year and see what he can produce.
Yeah, this would be his 5th season at Newcastle United. And if he was at another club like Arsenal, Chelsea, United, City, then I'd definitely be getting away with it at all whatsoever. But the thing is, he's here, and no other clubs have been asking for him as well. I mean, Atalanta and Galatasaray, they're the 2 clubs. I wanted them last week as well. They haven't made an offer, but they're just inquiring about it. And when they found about his wages, then they balked at it, because Atalanta do not pay 92, 93k a week. And the Galatasaray, I mean, they can spend the wages, but again, they're not going to spend that sort of money as well. Not winning a French international as well, and you know what I mean? But if Eddie sticks with ASM, I'll back that Eddie all day long. But I get a lot of people call up to me and say, look, this guy needs to be moved on. But which Premier League clubs are after him? No one. It has to be a foreign club if he decides to go. But we'll see what happens. But back on Harvey Barnes, he can be gettable. But do you honestly think he's going to come to Newcastle if we came, or do you think he's going to go off to West Ham United or Villa?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think for me, it's a no-brainer, right? Who wouldn't want to come up to St James's Park? Who wouldn't want to taste the crowd, feel that atmosphere, the electricity, particularly on a Champions League night as well? It's a no-brainer. But Aston Villa seems to have its lure. Unai Emery, you know, they always seem to nip in and steal a couple of players off our shopping list. I remember it was Diego Carlos. We missed out on him, but, you know, we ended up with a Rolls Royce. We ended up with Sven Botman. So, you know, everything happens for a reason. And we know that there's a multiple lists as well. So they talked about various scenarios of where we would finish at the end of the season and having a different kind of shopping list. Obviously, we're dining at the top table now, right? So we're shopping at the Champions League side of things. But there's definitely some bargains to be had out there in terms of some players that we should be making a move for.
Yeah. Absolutely. All it is, right? You just got to shop around. I mean, you may get a young player. I mean, for me, I would like to buy the best players in Europe as well, best young players in Europe. And if you can get them in, I mean, then that'd be cool. I've got absolutely no problems at all whatsoever. I mean, there's no way we spoke to Sobslay. I mean, we've never been talking to him at all whatsoever. We're going to comment to him later on as well. Let's go to some comments as well. Please get them coming in. Please smash the likes and also subscribe if you like to watch. And do follow Taylor at NUSS on Facebook as well. And I got some from Alan. We are going to talk about Calvin in a bit. Alan, hold that thought, me guy. And let's have a look at Tim Murray Ketspire. Well, if he's the real one, then big up to Tim Murray. Welcome. Phillips and Gallagher Championship players. We're going to talk about them later on. Don't hold that thought. We don't need a CDM. We've already got Gimarash and Tonali as well. And Alison chatting to Les. And let's agree to Tim Murray. Obviously, Leslie don't agree with either of those two players. We are going to talk about them as well. And big up to Tom, by the way. Hope you find Tom, who having a good day with your wife and family. And Kepan Turam and Barella and Matthias Franca, we're going to talk about them as well. And let's look at some more comments. We could sign Moussa Diaby or move Almiron into Canro. That'd be interesting. Very interesting. Diaby will be a dream signing. Even Real Madrid thinks he's too expensive. Barella will be a Mias, but can't see us affording him. I don't think you leave Inter Milan full stop, Tom. And that has been proved. We can get Diaby, though. We're bigger than Leverkusen and have purchased many French players in the past. Yes, we have indeed. And as on social media, again, keep it for the pitch. Well said, Leslie. He has to now. He's got to do it on the pitch as well. Hi to Kate and Jonathan. I hope you were fine. And I hope you a lot better after your tragic loss to your dad. And Michael, so Daughters goes out to your family as well, Kate and Jonathan. And I keep ASM for at least one more. Give him a chance in the Champions League. Will we get in the start? That is another kettle of fish. Hi to Gareth. I hope you're absolutely good. Calvin doesn't seem to have the drive to progress. Came back from England due to overweight and unfit. We definitely going to speak about him in a bit as well. Hi to JK. I hope you're good. What about Sahar on the 3? Not for me. Not for me. Not for me. And Phillips doesn't do enough way overrated. And we're going to talk about tier lab. We're going to talk about Calvin Phillips next. He's got a market value of £32 million, and he hardly played at the Etihad. It costs 40 million quid, right? He plays more times than he does for Man City, and he's got a contract until 2028. Now, me personally, I wouldn't have him, but what do you think of him? Would you take him?
Again, it's a no for me. Would it entertain the idea of potentially a loan deal where we weren't spending a great sum of money on a fee and we were maybe just covering a proportion of the wages? Yeah, I'd probably entertain that idea to see how he gets on. He seems to do it for England. You know, Gareth Southgate seems to see something in him. He seems to get a game there. He done well with Leeds. You know, Pep and Man City obviously seen something in him to take him from Leeds. So he's obviously got something about him, but it's a really hard team to get into, Man City, right? Let's face it, you know, the likes of Gundogan, Rodri, you know, how does he squeeze his way in that team? Gundogan's away now, so does that open up potentially more scope for him? I think he played 21 appearances across all competitions for City last season, so he was in about it, you know, he was in about the mix, and nothing really stood out, you know. He doesn't give you the goals that Gundogan would give you in a side as well. That Rodri's potentially going to give you. So I can't see him getting much action again next season unless he's going to be a bit of a squad player. If he comes to us, is he going to be a bit of a player? For me, he's a bit of a poor man's Longstaff. You know, I think Longstaff does a better job. I think as a kind of curveball, I think Scott McTominay would do a better job than the likes of Calvin Phillips. Scott McTominay's got goals in him. We've seen him doing it for Scotland. He's been banging them in. I think he's got 5 goals this season for Scotland. 2 against Spain. So I know that Scott McTominay is probably another bit of a contentious one. But again, Eddie Howe obviously sees something in him. He's a runner. You know, he'll run through brick walls for Eddie Howe, and for a cause. And I think once he got up and tasted it at St James's Park, you know, I think the fans would eventually want McTominay. There's definitely someone there that can be explored as a loan deal and to see how he gets on.
Yeah, Me personally, I wouldn't have McTominay at all, if I'm honest with you there, because he's no better than the ones who've got. Yes, don't get us wrong. I mean, McTominay is better for playing for Scotland. But for me personally, I don't think he'd improve us at all. We've got better players than like Sean Longstaff is one of them. Joe Lint is another one. Joe Willock as well. And the thing is, though, we're overstocked in central midfield, by the way, to be fair. And what can I say?
It begs the question, as the chap says in the comments, that a few folks says, it's probably an area that we don't need to strengthen, and it's not a priority. For me, the priority is that left back. And as much as I love Dan Burn, as amazing as he was last season, for 99% of that season, but in those high-profile games, for me, he got done once or twice on the turn in those bigger games. So, again, he done some terrific things on that left wing. He was on the right wing. He had an amazing season. But I think we need a natural left back, and that is a priority. However, when you're shopping for these players, you don't buy them necessarily in your priority order, right? If somebody becomes available, like Tonali potentially did, you go and explore that, regardless of whether that was a priority position or not. So I don't think we'll see these transfers unnecessarily unfold in the order that we think they will, but it's not an area for me, that middle of the park, that I think we need to be strengthening.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree, because what we don't want to do is cast off some bigger clubs, if you know what I mean. Because if they're that good, then you have to ask the question, why did they really want to get rid? You look at Man City, what they did. Gabriel Jesus, right, started well, but he drifted off a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, you look at all these clubs. I mean, we don't want to buy clubs players from the cast-offs. You know what I mean? We'd rather buy players abroad, to be fair, for better quality and better money as well. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a tough one for me for Calvin Phillips. I'm going to say no for me, but he's got contract till 2028. I mean, not for me, I'm afraid. Not for me. So, and just next one here as well. I mean, got one for Asbo. Hi, Asbo. What about Janonto for Leeds? You know what? For me, I think he's a really good player. I think he's one of the better players for Leeds United. He's young. He's 19 years of age or 20 years of age, whatever it may be. Yeah, direct, skillful. And you know what? I mean, with the ball at his feet, he can dribble and he plays really, really well. What do you think?
Yeah, I take it. I think he looked exciting last season. I think the question is, though, is would they be willing to sell him? And then if they were, what sort of kind of fee would they be asking? He's definitely got bags and bags of potential, and you don't let those sorts of players go. They're maybe in a bit of a different position now than they were last season, but I can see them definitely probably looking to keep him as a priority. He did look like he's got a bit of something about him, doesn't he?
Exactly. He has. I mean, like I say, he plays on the left side of midfield, and he's 19 years of age, from the left wing, Italian international as well. He's looking to leave Leeds United after the relegation, and he's got a ceiling. So he's got a brilliant ceiling as well, and he's got a potential there. I think he's quick. He's got a contract until 2027. He's got a market value of 50 million quid, but I think he want about 25 for this guy, and he'd be worth every penny as a young player. There's time to improve under Eddie Howe, and he'll do bits.
Yep. I think that the mystery unknown is no one knows really. People can speculate all they like as to how much we have to spend and how much they have to know, but no one really, apart from the people involved at in the kind of board and the directors, know exactly what the transfer budget is and what we can afford to spend. And I think until that becomes a bit clearer, as I say, who we're in for, all really kind of speculation. It was interesting enough, though, that the Seller sponsorship, when it was announced, was only announced as a frontership sponsor, John, as well. So does that mean that we've potentially got some more sponsors to come with some different avenues? Does that open up and explore more transfer kitty? Ultimately, the Champions League's going to bring additional funds as well. So people can speculate as to there's 100 million, there's 150, there's only 75. I don't know, and I do think we'll do some shrewd business, and I think some of the players that we do sign, they'll come totally left field. We'll not be prepared for them. It'll be a bit like Tonali did, although it took a bit of time coming. It'll come straight out the woodwork without all this kind of speculation beforehand.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You know what I mean? I mean, you just touched on there about speculation, this speculation, that. I mean, all our fan base on social media saying, "Oh, getting and talking." Well, they're not, because at the end of the day, I'll give you an example. Last season, Paquetá, right, eventually went to West Ham United for 51 million quid, right? I mean, everyone's saying that he's going to come to Newcastle United, right? Presumably, but we know he didn't. It's the fans' choice, but it's not the owner's choice, yeah? No one knows. No one knows what's happening. Do you know what I mean? So we've got to let Dan Ashworth and Eddie do their job, get the players they want, right? And let them get on with it, yeah, without us guessworking all the time. Even the media don't even know what's going on.
I do love it though. I mean, I get caught up in it as well. I love a good transfer rumour, and you know, it's great, and it's great to be linked with some of these big names as well. I mean, we're talking about Federico Chiesa the other week. I mean, Fede Di Marco from Inter Milan. Some big names out there. But whoever we get, they'll be the right character. They'll be the right players that are needed to enhance the squad going forward. But I'll probably take it back to left back, John. What's your thoughts on that left back position? Do you think we need to strengthen it? And if so, where do you think we should be looking?
We definitely got to strengthen the left back. We definitely need a centre back as well in case Fabian Schär gets injured, long-term injury. So if we definitely need that, because Jamal Lascelles could be well beyond his way this season in the window. Yeah. Right back wise, I mean, if Manquillo leaves, we definitely need another right back, whether people like it or not. And the midfield, well in midfield. Left wing, yeah, need left wing cover. We need another striker just as backup with Wilson and Isak. But the first choice at the minute is definitely left back. And there's three I'll be happy with. I mean, Kieran Tierney's one of them, but Arsenal wants something like 40 million quid for him. And Marco from Inter Milan, he's got a market value of around 35 to 40 million quid. I mean, he's got a long-term contract, and let's hope if he's available, we should be over him. But the one I want at Newcastle is Carlos Augusto from Monza, plays in Serie A in the Italian league. This guy, 6 goals, 5 assists last season for Monza. And they do play field at the back, by the way, but he's a left wing back. He calls to play left back as well. And it's going forward. I can't question him at all whatsoever. Lovely left foot, both footed, and he can defend as well. But 25 million quid for Carlos Augusto from Monza. Offer that money, then he goes. Simple as that. And I think this player is a really good player.
I can't comment too much on the Monza player, John, but in terms of Kieran Tierney, he's also lately been linked with potentially a loan move back to Celtic or a union with Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
For me, though, you know, there's questions about his kind of injuries. So I think he's missed over 80 games since 2019. 2022, he missed 48 games with a knee injury. 2021, he missed 8 games with another knee injury. He had a shoulder injury and missed 16 games as well. So there's questions about his available and his game time. There's certainly no questions about his character, his strength, his determination and attributes. He'd run brick walls through brick walls for Eddie Howe, you know, and I think he'd bring a real solidness to the defence on that left-hand side as well. He's good at getting forward. He likes chipping in with the goals as well. He can interlink. Now, he's quite versatile as well. We've seen him play at right back for Scotland. I think he played there against Slovenia. Played right back and he was solid. We've seen him play alongside Andy Robertson, playing out on the left, and Tierney more central on the left side of centre back as well. So for me, he'd be a real quality addition at left back. The money, though, you're right. You know, I think if we can get him for probably somewhere in the region of 20-25 million pounds, you know, I think it's a good bit of business if we can keep him fit. But we know that there's things they can do with the modern football now, so look to reduce the training schedule. That's maybe why he's suffering some of these injuries, because they're put through an intense. Is there something that could be done, like it was done with Callum Wilson, right? Just to look to try and support the player and staying fit longer. So Kieran Tierney is an option for me. See the Cusarella, if that's how you say it. I see those links have been about again today as well, looking at potential him as a left back. We then had a poll at NUSS, and it was a massive no for the Chelsea left back. I think, though, if you break down his season last year, he started 21 times for Chelsea last year, and you look at some of the things he was ranked for. So he was ranked 3rd in that Chelsea side for touches. He was ranked 4th for tackles won versus lost. He was ranked 6th for clearances, 3rd for interceptions, 3rd for duels won or lost. So, you know, he's making a contribution in a Chelsea team that was quite unsettled, chopped and changed quite a bit last season as well. So hard for anybody to get a real bit of rhythm. So as much as folks maybe a bit of a write-off, I think depending on how much the fee is, again, it could be a loan deal. I think he potentially be a viable option as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good shout there. I mean, Cucurella, personally, I wouldn't have him personally. I mean, look, he just cannot defend for me. Going forward, he's good, but not for me. Again, there's a reason why that Chelsea wants to get rid for half the price they paid for him, 60 million quid. I mean, for me, I don't know if that is true or not, but I mean, if he does come, I'm going to have to back the guy as well. So there's plenty of left backs available. Tierney, I mean, Cucurella, if they want it, him sort of thing. That Augusto from Monza and Di Marco from Internazionale as well. So plenty there as well. But I think Di Marco is going to be tough. I don't think Inter will let him go just yet because he's part of the furniture at San Siro. But if Tierney is available, and even if he's on loan, I'd take him on loan. Permanent
maybe that could be the deal, John. You know, around those fitness concerns is that, you know, that the loan is there with a mandatory obligation to buy if he meets certain criteria, and that criteria is game time ultimately, right? Because that's where the potential concerns are around, is his fitness. But yeah, for me, he'd be a massive shoe in at left back.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. We got to see what happens. I'm sure Dan Ashworth was doing work behind the scenes, and he could surprise one or two people like he did with Isak last season. Speaking about Salah, would be great to see them putting on drone displays before night games in the Champions League. Very interesting, Leslie. Good shout. And we've got one here from Leslie again. Getafe and Girona in Manquillo, so we'll not count him in equation. Do you know what? If either of those clubs gets Manquillo, in my opinion, I wish him all the best as well, because we definitely need a right back. I mean, he's 30 now, and for me personally, I think he's not going to get in the Newcastle team. I like him, but we need to move on. He needs to move on, in my opinion. Yes, disappointing not to get a Szoboszlai, but other positions are more pressing. The left back and right centre back are more of a priority. That's in the corner, lad. I have to agree there, mate. 100%. Hi to Carlos. Welcome to the chat, mate. I hope you're having a good day. And it's great to see Gordon showing what he can do with England 21s. He might be an option for third choice striker if we have injuries. You know what? It saves us a lot of money as well. And just quick on Gordon, by the way. I mean, he's still winning England the 21. And would you have him centre forward?
I think it's something that could be explored pre-season. You know, we've got Gateshead coming up. We're up in Glasgow for the Rangers for the Alan McGregor testimonial as well. So let's see if Eddie tinkers with the squad. But I think it's definitely something that could be explored pre-season. Why not?
Yeah, you have to see, wait and see on that one. So that's I mean, look, end of the day, I mean, I'll back Eddie what he does, because he likes to see players playing different positions, not just one. Doesn't Arteta want to keep Tierney? I think he does. But if the money comes in, then he may look into it. But if I was a betting guy, I think he'd probably go out on loan. And we have to see on that one as well. We've got one from Alan Rock Green. Big up to Alan, by the way, for Western Canada. Is that Western Canada? It is indeed. I hope you're absolutely fine, Alan. And make sure you keep supporting the black and whites. Hi to Clarkey. And hi to Clarkey again. Effinson, hi as well. And curious about this Mark Cucurella story. Alan, I'm with you, mate. I wouldn't have him at Newcastle United. He just cannot defend, and he's been found out at a bigger club in Chelsea. I mean, when you play for Brighton, right? I mean, look, you're great for Brighton, but when you go to a different club, I get a lot of people saying to me that they get found out. Good for Brighton, not so good out of Brighton. Look at Graham
I think
Potter.
Eddie, different strokes, different folks, right? So different players need different things, and maybe Eddie putting an arm around I don't know. I just think that, you know, Eddie wave a magic wand over anybody that we signed, right? The guy's done amazing things since he come in. That period of time that he had away, he's went away. He's done a lot of self-reflecting. He's done a lot of learning, and you know, his man management skills are just second to none. On the right back, though, you know, I'd be quite happy if we can get a bit of cash for Manquillo. It looks like he's potentially going to go out on a free. It still leaves us plenty of cover there. We've got Trippier, we've got young Harrison Ashby, who's potentially going to be loaned out next season, not quite so sure. And we've still got Emil Kraft as well. And, you know, if Eddie does his thing, we could have a Krafu on our hands next season. So I think we've got enough cover at right back. There's more pressing areas, John, as as the folks have said.
Yeah, very true, very true. Watching Cucurella, he seems to pass back more than being front foot, in my opinion, Leslie. I've always said that. I have to agree with you as well. He's definitely not the answer, won't be the answer, and Chelsea's going to be lumbered of him anyway. So I don't want to buy cast-offs, and he is one of them as well. I've got another one as well, just popped up as well, Taylor. I mean, according to Ed Aarons from the Boot Room, and he said that I did a clip of Joachim Anderson as well, and he's got a market value of 30 million quid. He's the defender for Crystal Palace, and I follow this guy, career Sampdoria. He is really, really good defender. He's solid. He's similar to Fabian Schär. His passing ability is absolutely fantastic. I like him, and if he's available, 27 years old, and if he's available, I'll just go for him because he knows the Premier League. He's 6'4". He reads the game like a book. Every time I watch this guy, home and away for Palace, he's been very impressive.
Yeah, the guy's a unit, isn't he? And I think his ball playing abilities is probably what has linked us. You know, you say there, John, the links between him and Fabian Schär are quite similar. You know, he can pass a ball. He's got that passing range as well. And he's a big lad. You know, he throws himself into those aerial duels and stuff like that as well. The fee, though, you know, I think for me, I probably wouldn't entertain that. I'd probably explore some other avenues. It seems quite pricey. It depends if Lascelles goes as well. We're probably going to need to move one on before we bring one in those positions as well. A good player, big lad.
Yeah.
You know, it all depends on price again for me, John.
100%, 100%. And the thing is, I mean, they probably want about 50 million quid for this guy. And these are not being funny, right? But these clubs now asking ridiculous amounts of money, yeah? I'm not being funny, but some of the players aren't worth that money. Look at Romeo Lavia, right? 40 million buyout clause. I take that guy tomorrow. That guy is brilliant, but he's a midfield player. And we're well off with midfield as well, do you know what I mean? And we can't do anything about it. But back on Joachim Anderson, I think this guy's brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
I can't see us shopping in the English market too much, John, to be honest with you. You know, there maybe be one or two players there that a deal could be done for. But I think the deals are to be done abroad, right? Because you've got the Newcastle tax. Everybody's just coming in, putting an extra 5 mil on, 10 million on to say, we know you've got cash. Regardless of FFP, you want them, you'll pay the additional fees. So we're going to come up against that. Folks know we've got money to spend. They're going to try and increase it here and there. But I think we've got Dan Ashworth in there who's pulled out some absolute crackers so far. So every bit of faith that the deals we do will be done well.
I've not been, and I'm gonna have to agree with you because look, we're not gonna get fleeced by anyone. No club's gonna fleece us, right? This is what this player's worth. If you don't like it, we're walking away. Come back later, and that's exactly what we've done with Lille. We'll come back where you drop your prices, and that's exactly what they did. Got the player.
It feels like we're fleecing them, if anything, John. You know, to get money back for Chris Wood. You know, the rumoured fee that it was to get some rumoured fee for John Joe Shelby, who, you know, his contract was whittling down as well. It feels like we're fleecing our folk. You know, you look at Declan Rice, 105 million, and you look at what we've paid for Sandro Tonali. Sandro Tonali is an Italy under 23 captain, played for AC Milan in the Champions League. Declan Rice is a decent player, but you know, we're doing some smart business, and I do have every faith and trust that we'll continue to do that smart business. Yeah, we'll maybe make one or two mistakes along the way. You know, they won't just be quite right, but I think on the whole, every confidence that we're going in the right direction, John.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think fans shouldn't have to panic at all whatsoever. They'll come. I mean, look, ideally, I'd love to get players in before pre-season. However, we have got to be patient. It's only July the 4th. And go on for clone lad. Is Levy Colwell available? Looks a great talent left back. I've got to be honest with you, mate. I've never watched this guy played. I heard he's got talent, but I never watched this guy played at all whatsoever. And tell you're right, Manfredo's been allowed to go on a free, despite I think it's a 2-year on his contract. And another one's been from Asbo is Geary. He's a decent player. He's a decent defender as well. I think Roy Hodgson do bits with this guy. He is really, really good. 22 years old. He's quick, powerful, and he's just going to get better and better and better. Him. You like him?
Yeah, he's decent. He's decent. Again, as you say, he's got that pace, right? He's strong. He's quick. He's decent. I think he's going to be a big player for Palace. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Roy will let either of them go, to be fair. But if the money comes in and it's right, then cool. Then they're going to have to sell. I mean, Palace are going to be a mid-table club, and they'd be happy just to stay in the Premier League. And I think Roy do okay there. Also, where does Cardalo end up and how much? He's rated at £5 million, Alan. I mean, Leeds United and Bournemouth are after him as well. And he's got a choice of clubs there now. Where does he really want to go? But if he goes and Carriers score, that means we got Devaka and Nick Pope on the books, and Gillespie, of course. So I think Cardalo, in my opinion, I think he needs to be away. What do you think?
Cardalo, oh yeah. Sorry, John. I think Cardalo. I think he's away this season. I think he's been a great servant. He's been in and he's done a decent job. But I think it's probably time for him to move on. I'd happy to keep Karius, for another season. I think he's a decent keeper. I think Eddie's obviously improved his confidence after, we'll not speak about what happened. But yeah, I think Eddie's obviously improved his confidence on his journey. But I think if they do move on, I think it will start that chain reaction. We'll probably need to react and look for a goalkeeper. And I think there's probably two we'll look at, John. So Fraser Foster, potentially available. And he probably fits that homegrown category as well for the Champions League. But another one I fancy us moving for is the LOSC, Leo goalkeeper Lucas Chevalier. So he's 21 years of age. I think he's valued about £7 to £8 million. He's played 31 times in League One, League Un, however you want to pronounce it. But he's also played for a host of the French youth teams as well, all the way up as well. So I think Lucas Chevalier could be one that we make a move for. Rumoured to scout with him several times earlier in the season. And if not, potentially a deal there for Fraser Foster, making up that homegrown roster.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I would love to get Mangy on, but that's not going to happen soon. Not we've got Nick Pope in at the team as well. But look, at the end of the day, you mentioned Lucas Chevalier. I mean, brilliant keeper. I think if he is going to leave, then I think it end up going to Italy as well, because I think Lille and AC Milan's got a good relationship between the two. But then again, guess where you got Botman from? There's your answer. And he definitely, I mean, Nick Pope, I love it. I like him. He's a good goalkeeper. I think he's a top quality keeper. He's been outstanding for us. And hi to Kieran, mate. Hope you're okay, mate. My first live on the channel. Love the videos. Keep up the good work, mate. Kieran, thank you very much indeed. And make sure you subscribe to my channel as well if you can, mate. Thank you very much indeed. And I've got one from Alan. So I heard, oh, sorry, Alan. I've got one here. I heard Tino Livramento does not want to come to Newcastle. He wants to go back to Chelsea, if anything. I mean, look, last week we put in a bid in for him, and I thought that was going to be agreed, but it wasn't to be, right? They turned us down. I mean, I would love to have him at Newcastle, but if he doesn't come to Newcastle, then we just get players who does want to come to Newcastle. Did he really said that? I don't know.
I think, and I don't think it's going to be one that will potentially change much over the window as well, John, because I think there's a clause in there where Chelsea are due a considerable percentage of any kind of sell-on fee as well. So I think that's potentially what's happened, is we've maybe been priced out of it due to that sell-on clause. So I don't really see that one changing much over the window, because I don't see Southampton reducing the price that they're looking for. He's still got plenty of life in him. He's a young, hot prospect. He's versatile as well. He can play that right back, left back. And before he done that injury, he looked a player as well. So I don't really see Southampton changing their stance on that one too much. And again, he's probably more naturally right-sided than he is left-sided, and maybe not an area that we necessarily need. Good player, though.
He is. Just come back from an injury as well. And, once he gets back into fitness, then cool. That is absolutely brilliant. I mean, but look, I think they're going back to Chelsea, if anything, if they want to pay a buyback clause as well. But look, every time we're going for a player, someone else comes in for them and he goes there. But I'm not going to kick and moan, because at the end of the day, listen, what can I say?
It's about getting the right ones. It's about getting the right ones, and the right ones will come.
Exactly. And one of the players who will not be coming to Newcastle is going to be Manny Corney. He's a good player, but Kieran, if he's going to leave, he ain't going to Bayern Munich. And I've heard that he's been linked to Bayern Munich, and I don't think he'll be coming to us at this moment in time. Livramento wants first team football according to the press. Will he get out of Chelsea? It'll be very interesting. They're saying Livramento prefers Newcastle to return to Chelsea. We don't know what's going on between where he wants to go. We have to wait and see what happens from the player. Chevalier is a brilliant keeper. He is indeed. He'll not come cheap. Newcastle has always had a great quality of keepers over the years. Yes, it did. We had Shay Given, Steve Harper, right, and also we have some decent ones. Nick Pope, of course.
Shaka Hislop,
yes.
Yeah.
But don't mention John Coercy to us because he's been shocking. Absolutely shocking.
We've had some shockers as well, haven't we? John Carsley, we had Lionel Perez that we signed from those who should not be named.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some poor keepers in the sticks as well.
Exactly. Mike Hooper, anyone? And we were blessed. Let's be real. I've seen Mike Hooper used to be at the door at Samuel Finney in Durham. I could safely say that. Met him back 20 years ago. 6'3", and he's a quiet lad, quiet spoken, but he's a top guy. And go on to Kieran. Do you think Rafa Benitez at Celta we might get first prize to Gabby Velga? If I was a betting guy, now I'm not in the know. If I was a betting guy, he'll end up going to PSG. That is my guess. What do you think? I think he's a decent player. Leslie in the chat loves him.
Yeah, I think he could potentially end up at Barca, at a host of top clubs, right? I think the rumours around the 20 million fee that the family want as a signing on fee, it could be putting a lot of teams off. But he's certainly a talent from the video clips that I've seen. I've not seen too much of him in the flesh, John, but he looks a player from some of the videos, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he looks. People's going to watch on YouTube saying, "Wow, he's weird," but you got to do the whole thing. I don't watch a lot of La Liga. I don't watch a lot of that. Like Serie A, I do, but I don't watch a lot of La Liga. And the thing is, right? I mean, all these people said about Arda Güler, right, from Fenerbahce, right? Great talent, right? But people say, "Go and get him, go let him." Why? He's a Turkish Messi. Do you rewatch the Turkish league? No. Do you watch the Turkish league, Taylor?
No, but I think I'm getting my players confused. I think it's Arda Güler that's got the 20 million, isn't it? That the parents want. It's one of the two.
That's the one.
They're both cracking players, but one of them wants a whole host of money. It's just a new breed of kind of football player. That Raiola, the super agent, kind of set the tone with the Haaland deals and all this sort of stuff, right? It's a new film kind of greed from the agent side of things. But yeah, both cracking players, but I wouldn't be entertaining those sorts of kind of fees.
Yeah, that is the thing. I'm going to have to agree with you there, but I think if he's going to go, he'll probably go abroad and develop from there as well. I like him, but I want to see more of him because I don't know a lot about this guy. I really don't. Cool is excellent. Yes, thank you, Kieran. And I would love to see Rafael Leao come to the club. It would be a great addition. I tell you what, this guy, if he's available and we get him, wow. But he's got to pick his club, so I can't see him coming to Newcastle anytime soon. I think he'd be at Milan for one more.
Well, I don't know. I think he's genuinely gutted that they've lost Sandro Tonali. I don't think he's seen it. I don't think the rest of the players foreseen that coming as well. And I think it's probably going to leave a big hole in the dressing room, and a big hole within the team as well. So there may be one or two more exits at AC. Whether he's within our budget, I mean, that's Victor Osimhen sort of stuff, isn't it? These guys are commanding a high transfer fee, but yeah, wow, how good would he be?
Ooh, that's amazing. He's got turbo, this guy. That assist against Napoli. He absolutely left Di Lorenzo for absolute dead. And he pulled that ball back to Giroud.
Yeah.
1-0. Wow. And not many people beats that guy. Hi to Andy CB. I hope you're fine. Is our right side centre-back cover are the weakest position going to Champions League? If not, what is? We definitely do another centre-back as well, 100%. And for me, I mean, if I'm going to go for a centre-back, I'll go for someone who's got Premier League experience. I'll go for Joachim Anderson for me. Palace, I think it's brilliant. He really, really is, Andy. The best thing about Vega, he works his way out of trouble, doesn't just go down, excellent on the ball. Technically brilliant. And we've got one here from Revenger. Manchester transfer of the day. We sold 2 players from Sunderland. That's the story. I think the last is as well, I believe. Last is football. Daily Mail reporting Livramento prefers Newcastle as some Allen. If Shah gets injured, we have Lascelles starting the Champions League. How mad is that? If Lascelles is there, He'd be playing in the Champions League.
He would do. I think a part of me would love to see Lascelles play in the Champions League, right? Because from when he kind of burst onto the scene, as Micah Richards would say, he literally burst onto the scene. Remember that interview after the game? I can't remember which was we played, and he come on and he done the interview after the match, and he spoke with passion, and that's ultimately what got him the captain's armbands, that bit of leadership that we needed in those tough times. And I think he's obviously still a great leadership figure around the dressing room. So part of me would like to see him play a Champions League game, but part of me thinks as well that actually I've seen him defending, and maybe we don't want to be slotting ourselves in for a big Champions League Tuesday night game.
That is very true. I mean, I'll tell you what, if Jamal Lascelles faces someone like Osimhen, it's only one winner there, don't you think?
I don't know. I think he'd give him a good battle, right? He'd be up for it anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. But time will tell, time will tell. Gone from Kieran saying that Axel Desabi, if I pronounce his name right, is it? Sassy, that's on to Sassy. He's being linked, no, not being linked, but he could be a good buy. 30 million euros, 25 million quid market value. I don't know a lot about this guy at all whatsoever. I really don't. And I don't watch League One football, but do you know what? Do you know a lot about this guy, Axel Desassy? Because I don't know a lot about it. I don't know that much.
I'll have a look at Football Manager after this, John, and find out if he's any good.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Hope Emerald Craft comes back with a bang, and he's on his way back to fitness. As obviously you're looking for a character player, Sandro Tonali under 21 captain, and it's a Bosley, which is off to Liverpool, mate. So we're not going to mention him because he's off to Liverpool. When Lascelles came on, he did look match fit, but understands concerns. That's some less. I thought Craft lost some pace. Will Craft be the same player though? After that long injury,
he's had a lot of time away though, and I think if Eddie can work his magic on him, I think there's a player in him. He's a Swedish international, he's got something about him. The pace is probably a bit of a concern as well, but I think he can definitely offer depth to that position.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, me personally, I think he's got 2 years left on his contract as well, because he's signed a new contract as well last season. I could be wrong, but I think he's got 2 years left on his contract as well. Why don't we go for, we spoke about it earlier on, Lafia is another CDM. To me, I sign this guy tomorrow. 40 million quid buyout clause as well. Liverpool wants him, also wants him as well, but I can't see him playing for Southampton.
No, the one I like, and the one that get me off my feet, John, is Federico Chiesa. I think about 40 million euros. I think they're looking for about 25, 30 million for him. He's an attacking player, can probably play a multitude of positions up that top end of the pitch, and he's got that Champions League pedigree. Again, no, probably not seen the best of him. So he's only 25. It feels like he's been around forever, right? He's been on the big scene. What has he got? 38 goals, 39 assists, and 202 Serie A games. So
yeah,
there's a lot to come from him. But that's a player that excites me. I remember being in Rome with my fiance on the way back to the airport, and the taxi driver raving about how good this guy was, how big a player he was going to be, how passionate he was about him. So took a bit of interest in him after that, and he is a player. He's the type of player I think that would whet the appetite, right? That would get fans really, really excited. The wages, not sure how that kind of deal would be structured, but Dan's in Milan, he's been kicking about. Hopefully there's been a few phone calls over there and a deal could be structured, but I'd really love to see somebody like Chiesa coming in. He'd excite me.
Yeah, my only concern about Chiesa, and a lot of people, this is why people don't do the background as well, his injury record is absolutely shocking. He had an ACL injury for 10 months. He had like muscle injuries. He had an injury which I cannot pronounce as well. He's been out for a month here and then. And for me, if I'm going to take Chiesa, it'll be a season-long loan for me. I will not pay all that money for him. His injury record is not the best. And another thing is, he's on 152 grand a week at Juventus. Now, if that is true, then that's going to be a problem. But for me, if he's match fit and he's on the season-long loan, I take him. but I'd be really worried about buying and paying the money as well. I don't know what you think.
We know that the Italian clubs and Juventus are quite fond of the loan market as well. So I think that's definitely something that could be explored, and it maybe has or it hasn't. But yeah, like yourself, obviously concerns similar to Kieran Tierney. If we can keep these players fit, there's a lot more that we can get from them.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if he did come, I would back him 110%. There's no risk, no buts there. I would love to get Enesri. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's a Moroccan and he plays up from Sevilla.
If we're talking about the same one, yes, I believe so.
Enesri, yeah, he plays Sevilla, 6'4". I mean, look, first part of the season, he wasn't that great, but the second part of the season, he was excellent. I mean, he's a big target man. He's got left-footed, he's quick, and he can hold the ball up as well. Good in the air, and they want about 50 million euros, about 45
I find it
million.
rumoured to be in a bit of financial trouble, John, so there's maybe something that could be done there as well. I think Sevilla are needing a bit of cash, and I think I've seen some place that potentially the whole team could be up for sale. So, yeah, maybe there is something that could be done there.
Yeah, I mean, the using wheelings and dealings there, that'd be great. And Monchi has left them as well. I believe he's gone to Aston Villa as a sporting director as well. Thoughts on Harvey B? Kieran, we spoke about him on top of the show. My personal opinion, I take a punt on this guy. 35 million by release, market value as well. And I like him. I do like Harvey Barnes, but if he comes, I'll back him. And would he be playing second fiddle to ASM? Probably, but I think they'll probably take it in turns as well. But we're talking about the left side. Joe Lynn could play on the left side as well.
Yeah, and he does well there. He does well there, you know. I think wherever you stick Joe these days, he's an absolute warrior. So massive thanks to Kieran Clark for unleashing Joe Linton beast mode, because, yeah, it doesn't matter if you stick him on that wide left, you stick him in the middle, you know, I wouldn't fancy coming up against him, right?
Yeah, fair enough. I've got one from Andy as well. Harvey Barnes not a big name, but 13 goals in a relegated team is great. Yes, 13 goals last season. He had a brilliant season in a poor Leicester side. 800 million in debt, but wow, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But they do spend as well. Do you think we should start Gordon on the left or on the right?
For me, probably the left, but, you know, does he start centrally, as we said earlier on? Do we think about that during pre-season? Do we see him coming in off the right? Do we see him playing a more central role as well? But for me, I probably think that he's more in contention for that left side at the minute, the way the squad's kind of made up.
Yeah.
What about yourself, John? Where do you see him sitting?
I'd play him either flanks, really, but preferably on the right. But you can play on the left as well. But I think better off on the right because he's right-footed for me. And he's going to be a secret weapon this season. I really, truly believe that. And I think he's going to be brilliant for us next season. It could be a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Yep. I think it's a massive season for him. He needs a big pre-season though, and he needs a full season pre-season under Eddie just to get that sharpness that they spoke about earlier on that just wasn't quite there for him. But, you know, as we've seen him doing with England in the last couple of games, I think he's got a massive season ahead for us.
100%. He's going to be key. But we've got to give the lad time. We have got to let him do his stuff. And if he does that, then it could be our player of the season. And you know what? I think Kieran Trippier sorted them out. No more diving, no more cheating. He's behaving himself.
And folks like Matt Ritchie and that, you know, those leaders around the club, we've seen those after pictures as well. Matt Ritchie just having a word, just try to calm it down. That's exactly what it needs. People forget, he's a young lad. You know, I think back to how I was at his age, you know, the weight expectation on their shoulders. These guys expected to be a role model. You know, they're going to lose their temper from time to time. And, you know, he's in a good place. I think he's in with a good set of leaders and a good coaching setup that'll keep him in good stead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he'll learn, and Eddie Howe will keep him right as well. No more stroppiness from him like he did against Brentford. Hi to Ian. I hope you're good, mate. And JB, hi to JB. Big Joe, Willock, Anderson, Maxi, Gordon, Isaac can all play on the left, which is very, very true. Hi to Ches. I hope you're having a good evening, Ches, and hope you're okay. And got one here from Asport. Do you think we could do another striker through the door with all these games and Wilson's fitness record? And who would you fancy?
I think it's a difficult one, isn't it? I think And I think if we do bring someone in, I don't think there'll be an out-and-out striker. I think there'll be potentially somebody that can come in off either of the flanks. You know, just given that versatility, there might be somebody that can play through the middle as well. It's going to be somebody that can kind of play across that front line. I don't think it is going to be an out-and-out striker, as the likes of Wilson. You know, so I think I've seen somebody like Jamie Vardy linked. You know, I don't think we need another one of those. We've got Wilson, who's got that kind of predator, poacher-esque type about him, and we've got Isak, who's got a whole lot more to his game as well. Actually, you know, it was good to see them play together last season, but I actually thought they both kept each other thirsty. They both kept that appetite there when we were rotating with them as well. So, yeah, there's potentially a bit of depth we need there, but I don't think it'll be an out-and-out striker. I think it'll potentially be a wide man who can probably play central also.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout, because we could do another striker because we've got 4 competitions next season and we need a bigger squad as well. If we do that, then it goes an absolute wrong way as well. But we'll see what happens. We could get a striker tomorrow. We could get a striker before pre-season. We could get a striker on deadline day. So, yeah, as long as it's not Hugo Ekiteke. Not for me. Not for me now. We'll talk about Tonali as well. I mean, we signed him yesterday. 60 million, 55 million quid, 60 million euros. And it'd be a fantastic acquisition now. I mean, Eddie's got to play him. I think he'd be brilliant.
I can't wait to see him. I think he's the new midfield general, right? So, you know, I think there's been a lot of liking this to the likes of Andrea Pirlo and stuff. But I think him personally, I think his game's more modelled around the likes of Luka Modric, Gennaro Gattuso as well. I think he's tenacious. I think he's going to offer that creativity from deep, which is going to be something exciting to have as well. But I don't think he's going to be messed with either. I think he's got a bit of passion about him, as you've seen in some of the clips and some of the videos. But yeah, I think welcome Sandro Tonali, welcome the new midfield general, and what a signing, right?
100%.
I felt like it took forever to come through once all the kind of chat was about. But yeah, really, really looking forward to seeing him getting on the ball and spraying it about the pitch. And he can get that ball into the box as well with a free kick. So I think Trippier might be up for some competition with the set pieces next season as well.
100%. And that's what you need. Someone's going to say set pieces as well. I mean, if Trippier's not doing it, give it to Tonali. Tonali, he's going to be a leader. Like Andy said, he's going to be a leader. And that's what we need. And he's come to the Premier League with a Serie A title in his back pocket. And also as well, he's got that winning mentality. Your leadership is important. And he's 23 years old. I spoke to Sabrina the other day. We spoke all things Tonali, and her insight on this guy is amazing.
Yeah, really, really exciting. I think once we get to see him in the flesh, we'll be feeling blessed. So yeah, I can't wait to get to see him in action. Hopefully pre-season as well.
Cool stuff. I was going to say, we've got a couple more minutes to go. And what do you expect us this season? Where do you think you're going to be finishing this season? Where do you expect us to finish the season?
That's a tough one. You know, top 4 again would be amazing, but we've got to be realistic and think. I mean, I think if you'd asked me last season, John, I would have took top 8, and I would have been very happy with a decent cup run. We got to a cup final, we qualified for the Champions League. I think it'll be hard to replicate that with all the games, with the lack of potential experience in Champions League and some of our players as well. We've got some guys there now that have tasted it, but I think we probably need 1 or 2 more just to bolster that. I do think, though, we'll go unbeaten at St James's Park in the Champions League next season. I think we'll make it a fortress. I think big shout out to War Flags as well. Love the stuff that they do, making it that atmosphere that is for us all when we visit St James's Park. But I think with the fortress that we'll have there next season, I don't see why we can't win all the games at St James's Park and have a good Champions League, but we probably need 1 or 2 more additions. That potentially allows the league form to suffer. So, you know, top 6, do well in the Champions League, get out the group stages, another decent cup run, we'll be happy. Just really excited to have the big nights back at SJP, John.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree, man. I'm going to have to agree. But top 6 next season, I'll take. Even if we don't get Champions League, Europa League will be fine, because you can still win the Europa League if it needs to be. It's still a competition. I know it's not the Champions League. And if I win the Europa League or even the Europa Conference, I'll be over the flipping moon, because I want that trophy to be at Newcastle. We haven't won a trophy since 1969. And that is a long damn time. to win any
Scott
competition.
Parker did lift. Remember, Scott Parker did get the Intertoto trophy. I don't think it was quite a trophy. It was more of a plaque type thing. But yeah, it'd be really good to get a recognised piece of European silverware. Just any silverware. We're not ungrateful. We'll take it however it comes. But how good is it, to be out the dark days and back into the good times, linked with some of these players that we spoke about tonight, John?
Yeah, absolutely. We could talk about it. We couldn't talk about these links under Mike Ashley. We just couldn't do that. But under these people, we can mention as much things as possible. But we're not going to get them all. But it's good. And it's nice to be linked to these players. Do you know what I mean? So whether it's wrong or not, as long as you don't mention Mbappe or Messi or Ronaldo, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So, and go for the comments as well before we wrap the show up. And Tonali is good now. Imagine what Eddie can do to help him develop. And I'm looking forward to seeing this guy. Big up to Ian, by the way. I hope you're okay, mate. And I tried to ring you the other day, but I'll ring you either tonight or tomorrow, mate. And I've saying hi to Ian. We should aim for fourth and come second. Yep, I take second all day long. Tonali, great signing. Liverpool will be shaking in their boots. Alan, you know what? They weren't quick enough. Simple as that. And I hope we smash them. We'll be playing one on at the 26th or somewhere like that. And I'll be there for the match as well. And also, I'll be filming war flags as well for my content as well. And on that bombshell, and got one here from Les. Thanks, Leslie, as well. Fantastic. Thank you, Leslie. And on the bombshell, we're going to wrap up the show. It's been an hour. And first off, did you enjoy coming on my show today, Taylor? First time.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having us, John, and hopefully you'll have us back. Just for anybody out there that doesn't know what we do, we're over on Facebook, Newcastle United Scotland supporters. We're the group that does it differently. So we were set up on the back of me finally being allowed to take my daughter to her first football match, which just happened to be the semi-final second leg against Southampton. What an atmosphere. And on the train on the way back up to Scotland, so every game's an away game when we're from Scotland, John, but on the train on the way back, she seen me doing the usual, checking social media for the after match chat, and she says, "Why don't we do that? You know loads about Newcastle. Let's set up a group, but let's do it a wee bit different." So we do. So we raise lots of money for our chosen charities. We donate to the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation, Great Ormond Street Hospital, the Scottish Spina Bifida Association, as well as Teenage Cancer Trust. And in the last 8 weeks, we've put away just under £600. So that's just under about £74 a week. We do free prize giveaways, free competitions, all your usual transfer rumours and chats as well. But yeah, feel free to come and check us out on Facebook. And pleasure being on, John. Thanks for having us.
No problem at all. You're always welcome at any time, and you've been absolutely fantastic. And don't go away yet, because we need to ask you, where can we find you on your socials? Do you have, obviously you've got Twitter, haven't you?
Yeah, so got a personal Twitter, looking to get the NUSS Twitter set up as well. Different strokes, different folks. Some folks have a good engagement volumes on YouTube, some on Twitter. We find that Facebook is ours, so we've got a group there, so feel free to come along and join. The joining requirements, there's no fee. You just come along, you answer 2 questions, you come into the group, and then you enjoy like the rest of us. It's a real community feel though, John. It's starting to pull together. We've got our own pin badges as well that I'll try and get in here. Yeah. We've got flags, we've got tees.
Nice
and
one.
The profits on those go to charity as well. So together, chatting Newcastle, raising funds for great causes. And although we're up in Scotland, John, we've got folks from Brazil to Biker, Fort William to Wallsend. We cater for all. So come over and check us out.
100%. I'll be in Glasgow on 2 weeks' time on Monday for a couple of days. I'll be at the Rangers game as well for the pre-season friendly. I can't wait for that. What I may do, I may go to Locker Romand as well if I get a chance to go. And I think I may do for a little bit and just do like a content there, record one. I can go back into Glasgow, do another content there, the latest news as well. And that's what I'm going to do. So I was going to put the links in the description. I totally forgot. But do check out Taylor at NUSS on Facebook and Taylor NUFC on social media as well. And if you do like the video, like what you watch, please give it a like, give it a subscribe, and also make sure you become a member for just 99p. And if you do join as a member, then you'll be entered into a prize draw like Leslie put up earlier on. 99p. It gets you into winning a chance of winning £50 voucher. You can spend your money at the club shop in Newcastle United. And also, we'll be back on Thursday for the Real Talk podcast show. We're going to talk about different subjects, what's been happening for the week at Newcastle United. And I will do backstage Taylor. Thank you for mentioning the chat. Thank you for me mods as well. You've been absolutely fantastic. And also thank you for making Taylor comfortable as well. And make sure you like, subscribe. And as always, away the lads.